Welcome, everyone, to the Holstein House podcast. I'm the West Virginia woman, Robin, of RobinHolstein.com and Holstein House, where my guests get a great night's sleep at a fair rate plus breakfast. This is a podcast that looks at society and culture issues affecting families in West Virginia and the United States, from food preparation and storage, gardening, home repairs, current events, and more. We'll go around the table and back in 60 minutes or less. So let's hang out and talk a while.
There I am. Hey guys, it's good to see you. It's been a while since we've done a live here this morning. Well, any morning for a while. I hope this looks very out of focus to me. I'm using my Lenovo laptop camera instead of my tablet or my phone, and it just, to me, it looks very fuzzy. So if it's fuzzy to you, hey, good morning, Tori the Wandering Ma. If it looks fuzzy to you, I apologize. I tried to adjust it. I can't do it. So maybe next time we can get it taken care of. But it has been a while. We've been very busy here with the garden and with life, with my father, with taking care of him, doing things with the church. But I thought it's past time to get back to doing this. And I hope you will bear with me as I try to pull it all back together. I hope you've been good. I haven't seen, pardon me, the throat. It never has really come back. You know, some of you guys will, if you're not live when you watch the recording, some of you guys will remember that I started getting hoarse a long time ago. And I've blamed it on a lot of things, allergies and age and stuff like that. I have no idea. And I'm not interested in going and having them scope my throat. I'm just not interested in that. So I do apologize for the rasp and the hoarse and the occasional cough. But so some of the things I wanted to catch you up on is the garden, our pantries, what we're doing this time of the year to bulk up our pantries, or maybe start a pantry. Maybe you haven't started a pantry at all and you're hearing people talk about it and you're like, what am I supposed to do? Where do I start? We'll talk about that a little bit and maybe get into it deeper next time we get together. If you've been following along, you know that we don't really stop. We've got the dogs, the cats, the chickens, the ducks, the house, the Airbnb, dad, and rental property and stuff. So we've got so much going on all the time. And I was doing very good, with our broadcast there for, I don't know. At one point I was doing 2 a week and that really got to be too much. And so I backed off to 1 a week, and then life and church and things. And so I'm hoping to get back to at least 1 a week live and occasional pre-recorded things, showing you how. I have a bunch of YouTubes that show you how to do different stuff, making sourdough, making ferments, so we can revisit those. I'm fine with that if you like to do that. But if you're new or you just need a little reminder, we try to, here at Holstein House, especially on the broadcast, we try to embrace skills that make our small home, and I call it a micro homestead because I'm a suburban, I used to be rural, but with urban spread and everything, I'm a suburban property that I have chickens, I have ducks, and of course my dogs and cats. I do garden. I do home canning. I do ferments. I do dehydrating and things like that. So I am a micro homestead. I don't have the cows. I don't have the sheep. I don't have the goats. I just have the chickens and the ducks. I've thought about rabbits. I just don't think I can do it. But we want to help you be a little more self-sufficient. I don't pretend to be one of these large farms or larger homesteads that just do all kinds of things, felling trees and what do they call it, tree fodder and rotating the pigs to the cows to the chickens and all that stuff. I don't pretend to be that. I am a micro homestead. So I do provide for my household. I do provide things for my family, and we do provide information to the community, but we're on the very small scale. So it's not just about the preparedness. It's about everyday function, everyday life in your homestead. And I've got Clapper over here on my other phone, and have a few people over there. I don't want to ignore them, but most of my stuff's right here. So we're going to talk a little bit about our gardens, a little bit about some of the stuff that's been going on in the news that affects us at the garden, in our gardening and in our choices for our food. We're going to talk a little bit about our pantries and, stocking up some of the stuff that's been in the news that is going to struggle. Tori says, I keep trying to start a pantry, but my teenagers eat it all. Well, they do have hollow legs. Teenagers do. And she calls hers a micro homestead as well. Yeah, because homesteading is a way of life. And not everybody's life is on 5 or 10 acres, right? Not all of us are going to live out. Like I said, this used to be an urban area. My little small town of Diamond here in Kanawha County, West Virginia, when it got started back around, what was it? I think the railroad came through and set up their marshaling yard in 1890, somewhere in there, and, brought the families in. This area was urban. It's just a small, to walk around my community, one trip around the community is a mile. So it's not a very big community, but they had the family gardens. They had some livestock, I think mostly pigs, but chickens and ducks as well, and geese, those type of things. And then as time passes and technology improves and life, industrial revolution and things like that, those things go away. You start going to the store to buy your groceries. You don't raise as much at home, and the folks get a little older, and the children move away, and things like that. So the community changes, and this community has changed. It's older. A lot of the homes are in rough shape. There's been quite a few removed, because they were not able to take care of them. But there have been attempts by some folks here in the community to homestead on too large of a scale. This time last year, we had a neighbor, I always say it was our outback neighbor, who, and I don't know anything about pigs, but I think these were those coonies pigs, but they're kind of like the potbellies, but they get a little bit bigger, about the size of a dining room table, and a little bigger, but not those gigantic monster pigs or hogs. I'm not well versed in the differences there, but they were trying to raise these cooney pigs in the out back of us. It could have been done, maybe. Pigs can get through fences, and the couple started having some personal issues. The husband left the home. She was there trying to take care. She couldn't take care of them. These pigs started breeding. By the time I say we kind of broadly because I really wasn't involved in it, but it was part of the community. By the time we were able to get someone to help her with these, I can't do it. There were over 40 pigs in this small, probably 300 by 300 feet area. They had torn down the fences. They were running wild in the community. I kid you not. They were all over the place, digging up people's yards. It was a big mess. So it could have been done on a small scale if they were able to take care of them, but they weren't. And so the couple break up. The husband's already moved out. The wife is about to move out. She's trying to just get rid of everything. I adopted 2 of her chickens and 2 of her ducks that were left. They had been left to free range, just the whole community. The ducks were laying in a marshy area outside of her fence line. The chickens were all over the place. It took a lot to get them corralled. And so we adopted those, and they've been fine. They've been producing and stuff for us. They're fine. I don't know what breeds they are, but an organization came and rounded up what was left of the pigs, and at that point there were 30 some odd. And I mean, they were cute as buttons. They ranged from about that big to full size grown, and about all of the breeding age females were already pregnant. The boars were running all over the place. They finally got that cleaned up and got them out of there, but that was a case of, number one, they weren't able to take care of what they had, but they also weren't getting along. So they weren't taking care of them because they weren't getting along. And anyway, big long story. But to come back around, I do ramble. To come back around, you can micro homestead. You just have to know, your limitations. Now, I know on my piece of property here, my small piece of property, I have 7 ducks and I have 10 chickens. That's about the max I can do. I really cannot add any more. The coop area, keeping them confined is fine. I could leave them in there all the time. The ducks wouldn't be happy, obviously, but the chickens can get up and get around the ducks. But that's my limitation. And I figured that out based on, people wanting me to take on more chickens, more ducks. Looking around, looking at my property, I know that a chicken needs about 3 square yards of personal space. And if I sit in my mind and think, okay, I know I can get, 3 here, 3 here, 3 here. That's about all I can do. Plus, you look at how happy they are, whether they're producing, whether they're getting sick. So I know that on my property, I'm at my max. I'm probably a little over the max, but I'm at the max. And the eggs. There was a time about this time last year when everybody was screaming they all wanted eggs. So, I was able to sell the eggs pretty well. The duck eggs, people aren't as fond of, so I get overwhelmed with duck eggs. So I know that I can't take it on, and you need at least 4 hens in the ducks, 4 hens for one male. Otherwise, they'll breed them to death, because male ducks just do that all the time. Roosters too. But so I know I'm at the limit there because I can't sell enough. I can't sell all the eggs, and I can freeze them, but I can't use them all also, because I've got right now, I probably have 2 dozen eggs to clean. I've got about 8 dozen in the refrigerator. And they're getting to the point where they're too old. I don't want to sell them because they've been in there for so long. I want to sell the fresher eggs. But so a micro homestead is just this. So I can do the ducks and I can do the chickens. I could bring on rabbits. Like I said, I don't really want to. I just can't take out a rabbit. The only purpose for the rabbits would be either for the waste, which can be great fertilizer, or meat. And if you're going to have them, you're going to feed them, you might as well eat them. And I just don't think I can dispatch a rabbit. I just don't think I can do it. Chickens I've done, but I don't think I can dispatch a rabbit. And I don't know why. It's just, I don't think I can. And so that's my limitation. Tori the Wondering Mom. I guess you're Tori the Mom. What do you have on your homestead? I'd love to know what all you've got on your homestead. I also have, for those of you who don't know, I also have a container garden. And my container garden is a little larger than, what you can have on the porch. The porch gardens, most people have. They're great. They're great supplements. I supplement with my porch garden. Where's my thing? Make sure I don't, boo. I don't want to have to sign in there. If you're on Rumble, I apologize. I can't see you. I was going to try to pull up Rumble and follow that as well, but it logged me out, and I didn't know it logged me out. So I apologize for that. Well, I'll work on that in the future, and I'll look for your comments. And I'll try to reply to them as soon as we're finished here. Muscovies. Yeah, my husband raised Muscovies when he was young, living with his parents still. They had a rudimentary farm, and he had Muscovies. He's teased me about getting them, but he said they're great birds. But the first bird I got were from the Tractor Supply, and they were pecans, and they just melted my heart. But the ones I've got now, they're just they're a barnyard mix. Dorian, he's the Drake. He's gray, Dorian gray, and he's got one of those poofs on his head. The other girls are they're brown and white. I don't think they're oh, it went right out of my head. Darn it. Anyway, I can't remember. But I've got two that are brown and white, and I've got two that are black. I've got my one pekin left. No, I've got three that are black. Okay, so I got Dorian. I had the one pekin, and she said this is her 8th summer. She's the oldest of my original flock. So I've got Dorian, I've got the pekin, I've got 3 blacks. Well, 2 of them are pretty solid black, and then one of them is black and white. And then I've got 2 brown and whites. Then my chickens are, I've got, I'll never remember them all. I've got 1 Isa Brown. I've got 1 Easter egger, and she doesn't lay much anymore, maybe 5 or 6 eggs a year. She really needs to go, but I can't. I mean, the other ones make up for what she doesn't do. So the Isa Brown, the Easter egger. I've got 2 Rhode Islands. I've got 2 Jersey Giants. What are the other ones? The other ones came from the neighbor. So there's 2. I don't know what breed they are. No, there's 4. I don't know what the breeds they are because they came from the neighbor. But anyway, but I've dispatched the chickens. I've dispatched ducks. I just don't think I can do rabbits. Maybe if I was hungry enough. Oh, I can take that off there. I forgot it was there. That banner, that ticker hide. Take it off there. Sorry. I haven't done this for a while, so I'm out of practice. I was out of practice last time too. Last time I was trying to use the StreamYard feature for the scroll. You know what you say, and I couldn't do it. I couldn't follow it. I mean, I'm not a TV anchor. I'm not used to reading that, so it wears me out. I do better with just kind of bulleted points. So my garden, in my garden, this year has just been insane. My container garden has some sweet potatoes, which seem to be doing great. The vines are blooming. I've got them training over an arch. They don't really cling. They don't have little feelers and to twine and hang on. They just kind of flow. So I have to go through every couple of days and kind of push it through the little holes that I've got on. So I took it's plastic chicken wire. It's not wire, but it's plastic. It's made for fencing. I bought a roll of it when I first started keeping the chickens to keep the little ones from going through the holes in the traditional chicken wire. We're done in there. But I cut this to about just shy of a foot, probably 10 inches. And I tied it to the arch. I zip tied it to the arch so that I can put the vines through there. Last year, I put my loofah. I had my loofah on it, and the loofah got so heavy, it almost tore it down. So I knew that the archway that I had was too feeble to hold that kind of weight, because we actually propped it up several times with posts and stuff to keep it from collapsing. But so I have my sweet potatoes in feed sacks, and I have them training over this arch where you go into the garden. That's about the only thing that looks really nice in my garden. My garden, someone on Noster used the phrase feral for my garden. And I'm like, that is the perfect word. That is the perfect word for my garden, is feral. The extreme heat that we had in the first part of June, and then all of the storms that we had in between the extreme heat, I couldn't get out there and take care of it. It was a weedy mess. My garlic did fair. It was spring garlic. I've never done garlic before, but I put some garlic in some containers, actually some flower bed pots about yay big, yay long, and I don't know, it's about 6 inches wide. And so I put some garlic in there. It did okay. I pulled it a couple weeks ago. It's drying now. I need to do something with it soon. My green beans are doing okay. I have the green beans in some very, very large white containers that I managed to get through West Virginia State University's Extension Office when they did some programs here for when we were doing them at the church a few years ago. They were doing classes on container gardening, and one of the things that they did was provide these big white containers to those who participated. And I got a couple of those, and I put my green beans. I was trying to rotate this year. So the containers that I had, my big containers that I had tomatoes, I think it was tomatoes. Last year, I put green beans, bush beans in these this year. So I put two plants in each of them. They're doing okay. It's not my container garden and most container gardens are not going to provide enough like an acre garden. You know, you're supplementing, you're offsetting. And mine, I have the green beans in the one. They're doing pretty good. And they don't produce a bunch. They're bush beans, but they don't produce a bunch, but they do enough. They do enough to offset. And my tomatoes, some of my tomatoes are just barely hanging on. I mean, they are so sad. This weather has really been harsh for them. So my lemon, is it the lemon tomato? It's supposed to turn a really pretty yellow color. It was given to us. The plant was given to us. I can't remember now what it was. My Jersey Devils are barely doing. A couple of years ago, they were wonderful, but this year, not hardly at all. The tomatoes that are doing best for me this year are the stupid cherry tomato varieties. Now, these are plum somethings, I think. They don't get really cherry red. They get a kind of a purpley. They're not a midnight rose. We had midnight roses last year. These are not them. But anyway, they're all over the place. This horrible weather that's absolutely destroyed just about everything else I have in the garden, these cherry tomato vines are just going insane. I don't know if you've ever raised cherry tomatoes. I did a few years ago, and I remembered why I didn't like to raise them. But I'm raising them now, and I don't know. I've lost my mind with those. But they're feral. They're all over the place. I wasn't able to get in and get the suckers off. I mean, when I walk through that little area, I have to put my arm down and lift the vines up. But they're producing. They're huge. I have one pumpkin. I would have destroyed the whole thing, except I have the one pumpkin. It's a good size pumpkin that I'm letting it hold on and see what happens. We get the squash bugs really bad, really, really bad. And last year I was able, for my yellow squash and stuff, last year I was able to keep up with them and long enough to get a decent little harvest of squash. This year, no. The storms, the rain, all of the stuff, the heat just absolutely kept me from being able to be out there and keep up with them. So by the time I get out there, almost every leaf is polluted with the little squash bug eggs. The little stupid bugs are all over the place. And it's like, I can't fight this. I really can't fight this. So Squash bugs carry a virus, or I don't know if it's a virus or bacteria, but I think it's a virus that infects the squash plant and causes it to die and then causes it to rot the fruit. The little eggs, they're usually in the shady parts underneath the leaves. There's just a little cluster of little tiny round eggs. And last year I was able to go through and I would, for the most part on my squash, cut those off and drop them down in some soapy water and take care of them. Because when your garden is small, it's usually not a big deal. I would go out in the mornings after I let the chickens out and the ducks and got them fed and taken care of. I'd go over with my bucket, and water my gardens, because your container gardens need more water. They can't get their roots down into the ground, so you've got to supplement the water for them. And I'd go through and I'd harvest what was ready, and I'd cut the bugs off, or I could pick a few off and throw them down in some soapy water that I would carry around with me. This says do not disturb. I wonder if that's no. Sorry about that. Over there at Clapper, I was able to keep up with that garden, but not this year. It's just absolutely gotten away with me. I have, let's see my pepper plants. Some of my green peppers are doing very well. Some of them are just really, the things that I started in my basement, that some of them are just barely hanging on. Some of them didn't make it after transplant. A friend of ours, of my husband, has a traditional greenhouse, and it's in Indiana. And when my husband works out there in the spring, he usually goes and visits him, and he'll send back plants that he started in his greenhouse because he just likes to do it. And we get some interesting varieties, and they always are good and healthy, and they do real well. Some of the ones I start just barely, and I have had success with other things, but this year it's really been a struggle. Let me see. So that's the peppers and the tomatoes, the pumpkin. I have a blackberry bush. It's a store-bought blackberry bush. It's in a very large container, and I'm pretty sure it busted the bottom out of it because there are shoots coming out from under it. It may have sent shoots through the drain holes because, in a container you got to have drain holes. And pardon me, the husband has doctor's appointments, and he's sending me a message that when he gets back, he'll be ready for lunch. So let's see. Oh, the front, I have the blackberry bush, especially it's a thornless bush. I've not been able to get but like a couple blackberries off of it because of the birds. I've got to get better netting. I've had netting on it, but the birds got through it. It wasn't the right kind of netting, so I got to do with that. And out front, I have strawberries on my front porch in hanging baskets, and they are doing okay. None of this is designed, especially the strawberries, are not designed to provide enough for jams. They're just there to provide snacks and an occasional dessert topping. So that's it on my garden. I know, I'm sure there's been a lot of you wanted to talk just real briefly and see if I can share this, if I can remember how to share the screen. I have to, is it this one? Yeah, I think it's this one. Share screen. Wait, let me find out. Is it this one? It's the Cyclospora. Grounding, agriculture. Where'd it go? Oh, there it is. Okay. Let me show you this. Share screen. Mini dust bowl. Let's see if we can do this. So hopefully you can see this. I know you can't over on Clapper. I'm not sure. I hope you guys over on Rumble can see this. This is a story, a link from a story. 13WOWK is a local station for me. And they're talking about mini dust bowl could be forming in the U.S. Experts warn, will El Nino make it worse? Now, this is the time of year we hear about this El Nino, and it's a flow of weather. The earth is not static. We have weather patterns, and things get hot and things get cool, and the wind blows this way and it doesn't blow this way. And I'm not a big conspiracy person as far as man-made global weather. This world has been churning, and we're just exiting. If you just study, we're just exiting a mini ice age over the past few hundred years, maybe a couple of thousand, I don't remember now, but we are. And so the earth changes. Where I live used to be covered with a glacier, and that was before man got here. So I'm not going to get into that discussion, but we do want to talk just briefly about drought conditions. This story says drought conditions. I'm sure you can read it. I don't want to, think you can't. You guys over on Clapper can't see this. I'm sorry. But it says drought conditions are already bad across the West, talking about the United States. Even exceptionally bad in some spots, and experts fear they're about to get worse. Oregon, Idaho, Nevada, Wyoming, Utah, Colorado, New Mexico, Nebraska, Oklahoma, and Texas Panhandle are seeing large swaths of extreme and exceptional drought as of mid-July. For many of those states, the dry season is far from over. Now, we know in my area of the United States, especially the last couple of weeks, we have been just absolutely inundated with smoke from Canada. Now the weather guy says we're getting some smoke from Oregon. These smokes are from these massive wildfires. I'm not going to get into the discussion about what caused them or what we could have done to mitigate them. We'll leave that for another time. My concern is, and for those of you who can't see, who may be on the audio, is a map of the United States, and this shows the U.S. Drought Monitor as of July 21st, 2026. And it's ugly. It's really ugly. And the reason I bring this up is if you have any type of garden at all, if you have access to local foods, local farm markets, you're going to have to really get ready. We've got a couple things going on. This drought complicates the tariff issue. We were going to talk about the tariffs just a little bit. Not the pros and cons of the tariffs, just the fact of the tariffs. I don't want to get into a big political discussion on this. Maybe we can do that another time under Robin's Rants and Raves on Rumble over there. So my area of West Virginia is technically in an abnormally dry drought area. Now, that's bad enough, but my biggest concern is those states that we mentioned that I read off a minute ago. On this map, it's just absolutely horrifying how much, what kind of drought there is for our food. Now, we know the tariffs are going to affect us. The tariffs that the United States presidents put on imports that are going to affect our food, they're really going to start hitting us here towards the end of this gardening season, towards September. This is when we're really going to feel it because they've been on so long. Manufacturers, importers, grocers, they've all absorbed a little bit of what they could on the tariffs. Anybody that's had run a business understands that you have a profit margin. And the idea behind your profit margins, put the money back into your business or into the retirement programs and things like that for your staff and employees. And in some cases for exorbitant salaries of your presidents and CEO, but they earned it. That's not my business. They've absorbed about all they're going to be able to absorb. If the tariffs don't come off, we're going to start seeing that on our groceries, our imported groceries. A lot of our imported groceries are grains. We get a lot of fruits from south of the borders in Mexico and down south, and all of these are going to be hit by import tariffs. Things that come from Hawaii are not going to be, but Hawaii's dealing with their own stuff, fires and devastation that they've got there. So we're really concerned. El Nino, this story talks about El Nino, and it can bring more rain or less rain. What it does is it comes up out of the Pacific, and it kind of, follows a little path around the United States. And depending on how high up or how low it is across the United States predicts on how much rain that we're going to get. This is long range stuff, long range weather stuff that the big pros understand better. I mean, I get the basics. I imagine you get the basics too. But these people, they study this stuff for half their life, I guess, and they really have a pretty good idea of these jet streams and highs and low pressures and things like that. But they're predicting, that we're not going to get enough rain. This story predicts that we're not going to get enough rain or moisture, snow melt and stuff to take care of our drought situations. I know over on Telegram, because we have a Telegram group for Holstein House, one of the ladies commented there that one of the rivers she drives by on occasion to go into town is very, very low. And this is over in, oh, darn. Shoot, I can see it in my mind's eye. I can't think of where she lives. But anyway, it's a pretty good sized river. It's pretty low. And she said she made that comment in the Telegram group when we were talking about it. This is where we have to start thinking about not just putting things away because when I say putting things away, I'm talking about home canning, dehydrating, fermenting, freeze drying if you've got it. I didn't get into the freeze drying. I tried to do the math on my age, the cost of the freeze dryer, and I just can't justify it. I might live another 25 years, and I don't think I'll be able to get my money back on a freeze dryer. But that's for another day too. A lot of the things that are staples in our home cooking, in our lives, are going to be affected by these tariffs and this drought. You can't go back and replant wheat. Wheat's kind of got a cycle. It's got to have so much, of course, any garden does, so much time to grow before you can cut it down and plant and try to get a second harvest of it. You don't have time. We don't have time. A lot of the wheat berries, you may have heard people talk about wheat berries, and that's what they grind to make the flour for, your all-purpose flour, your bread flours, and anything that has flour in it is made from wheat berries if it comes from the wheat plant. They come from the area over in Europe that's just being devastated with the war. And then they have to come through, those areas that are being blockaded to get here, and they have to travel by ship, and then they have to get, they're things that are wheat-based. The prices are going to go up, and we're not going to be able to supplement them as a country because we're in such drought. And so we got to look for them. Our government will start looking for them, or our businesses will start looking for them in other places of the world, but then you have to, transfer them in. So what we need to be doing at this point in time is we need to be, and I'll use the word stocking. I don't want to say stockpile. I mean, that sounds excessive, but we need to be stocking up on wheat-based things, sugar-based things. Or if you don't want to use refined white sugar, your sugar substitutes. The base things that we use, the wheat, the flour, the sugar, the salt even, all of these basic things we need to be starting to put away, and putting away enough for, about a year's worth, maybe two. I think, and this isn't a comment on the particular religion, I think the Mormons are known for their pantries, for having a couple years of food. They've got it down to a science. They really do. Do we need a couple years of food? Maybe. Do you want to go much further than that? Probably not, because of the shelf life of food. If you freeze dry stuff, they say it lasts for 25 years. I don't know. I've not opened a 25-year-old can of freeze dried food and tried it, but I'll take their word on that that it at least lasts longer than a couple of years, let's say 10. If it lasts 10 years, then good. So we need to start looking at what we are consuming, and we need to start rebuilding our supplies of these things. How are we going to do this? If you've never done it before, don't jump in and buy twice of everything you have. I mentioned in the promo for this to write a list of what you've consumed this week. Homemade stuff. Well, I mean, it wouldn't have to be homemade stuff, but what have you eaten over the past week? Look at that and breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks or whatever here. Breakfast, lunch, dinner. If every day this week you had some sort of cereal, guess what? Most cereals are based with wheat. I mean, yeah, there's rice, but rice-based, like Rice Krispies and stuff. Those too have to be imported for the most part. The rice does. Pardon me. So look through everything that you have eaten and take a blank calendar grid and try to make a menu for a month. Check your cabinets to see if you have enough stuff there. If you don't, start looking at the things you use the most. If you only have Rice Krispies once or twice a month, you don't need to look at that yet. But if you're eating eggs every day, look at that. If you are eating toast every day, count that. This is where you need to start building. You also need to look for nutrition, because if you're eating a lot of junk food or a lot of fast food, you need to shuffle that, because junk food and fast food are going to go up as well. Okay. If they still made Twinkies, I don't know if they do or not, they're going to go up too, because what are they made with? Besides the stuff you can't pronounce, the basics of it. Anything, if it has to be imported, and we import a lot of food, we really do. And a lot of the bases and a lot of the spices that we use. That's the place to start. With a basic grid for a month. Old school paper grid, just draw it out. Doesn't have to be perfect. Have spaces for 31 days. Maybe you don't use all 31 because February. But do that. Get your grid. You've got to start looking at what you need to buy. And you need to start buying it soon. Now, I'm not trying to panic you. I want you to plan this out. Give up your Starbucks coffee to buy extra pasta. Okay? Don't eat out Friday night so that you can buy, extra bread flour. I don't know what your eating habits are, but if you're spending a lot of money on stuff, cut back on that stuff, because you're going to end up having to pay more for the groceries. And if you buy, let me think. I'm tapping my fingers in case if you can't tell. And I keep coming back to flour because it's the most common thing. If you buy a bag of flour today, whether it's brand name or not, let's say you spend $4 on a bag of flour today, and you put it up. You can either, you can, if you use flour enough, you can keep it in an airtight bucket or box or whatever, just to keep keep the air, keep it from going stale. If you don't use it that much, you can put it in the freezer. There are people who say don't put it in the freezer because of moisture when you take it out. I've not had a problem with that. I've put mine in the freezer. Sometimes I'll get those gallon zip top bags and put it down in there and zip it and then put it in the freezer so that when I take it out, the airflow is not so much. But I've not had a lot of trouble with it. I don't keep bags of flour for 4 or 5 years anyway. But if you paid $4 for the bag of flour today, when you get to it in 6 months, let's just say 6 months, if you had to buy it from the grocery store, it's probably going to be $7. Okay, so you are using, you're technically only paying the $4 for that bag of flour you just popped open. So you're eating tomorrow at today's prices. And it's that way for just about anything. When you buy meat on sale today and you put it in the freezer and then you take it out in a couple months, the prices at the store have gone up, but the price that you paid for that is stable. You've already paid for that. So hopefully that's making some sense to you. Beef is imported. Speaking of beef, a lot of beef is imported. If you can skip enough and I'm picking on Starbucks. I really am. I used to kind of like Starbucks, but I really got to thinking about it, and it's one of the dumbest expenses a person can have. It's a 50-cent cup of coffee that they're getting $8 out of you for. It's just insane. Don't do that. Let's back off the Starbucks, okay? It's just, and any of those big chain coffee places, it's just dumb to pay that much for a cup of coffee. Skip the Starbucks a few times and go in with a neighbor or a family member that's in a different household and find a local butcher. Go and talk to them and say, who do you get your beef from? Can we buy a half a beef? Can we buy a quarter beef? And if you say, well, I don't understand what that means, there's all kinds of stuff out there. Maybe we can do that one day. I'll get the maps back out or their diagrams back out, and we'll talk about. Mr. Holstein and I are buying a half a pig this fall. And you'll pay X amount of dollars for the person who raises the pig, and then you'll pay X amount of dollars to the butcher. And usually when you do the math on that, you get some awesome prices per pound. We've still got a little bit of pork left from one that we bought a couple of years ago. It's in the deep freeze. When I went by the store, we were at the grocery store one day last week, and they had pork butt on sale for 50 cents a pound. I like to die. I had to pass it up because I've got pork in the freezer, and we've got one on order. I really wanted to get that, but that's an awesome price. And if I would have bought that at 50 cents a pound, then this fall, defrosted it, started to cook it, and go to the shelf, it would probably be $1.99 a pound. So I'm eating 50 cents a pound, parts to $1.99 a pound. But some of our beef is imported. You may have heard of that screwworm thing that's coming up out of South America, and they're starting to get a handle on that again. It was a problem several decades ago. They managed to almost have it completely eradicated, and then trouble down at the border. We won't get into the politics of that, but it was reintroduced in the United States down in Texas. So it's I think they've got a handle on that. But it reminds us that a lot of our food's imported, even our beef. So they import some of the beef. It's butchered up in Texas, and it's called processed in the United States. So there's that. We've already talked about the tariffs. I forget what did I try to tell you guys we were going to talk about today? Oh, let's see. We'll catch up on the growing season. We talked about that, talked about the tariffs, talked about that a little bit, how to affect the pantry. We talked about that a little bit. What have you cooked over the past week? I haven't cooked that much like I should have. Mr. Holstein was off. He was on vacation. And so it kind of messes up my routine a little bit. So it's like, I just cooked your lunch. We could cook your dinner. Let's go out to eat. So that was not the best week for me to use as an example. I mean, if there's anything I will, over here on Clapper, I don't see a lot. I see somebody speaking to me in Spanish, it looks like, and I don't speak Spanish. And I apologize. I can't get to my comments on Rumble, but I'll start wrapping up. I really enjoyed this. I feel like I was kind of rambling. I thank you, Tori, the Wandering Mouth, for coming in and chatting a little bit. I hope that those of you who hear this on podcast. I upload through Podbean, and it goes out to all the good sites, including Fountain. I really like the idea that we're over there on Fountain, and I've had some good interactions with the folks over on Fountain. I do want to, I don't do this very well. I'm supposed to promote stuff, promote me. I don't do that very well. I do have an Etsy store. I do have, so let me share the screen with you. I'll have the link in the comments or in the description. I do have this Etsy store. I did add a few things to it. Hopefully you can see this. This is, I did 3 shirts. This is Blessed is the Nation, whose God is the Lord. And it does have the Holstein House logo on the front. I don't think, is that it? Yeah, it's hard to see in this. I can't zoom in on it far enough, but it's right there. It's red, white, and blue. Well, it's red and blue for the Holstein House logo. And then the back, obviously, it says, Blessed the Nation, whose God is the Lord. Let's see. Can you see that? Can you see? I have another one that says American by birth, Christian by grace. I have another one that says 250 America's independence, 1776 to 2026. I have a regular t-shirt. It's called a raglan shirt. I love these kind of 3/4 inch or 3/4 length sleeve t-shirts. Some magnets, some canvas totes, cups. I love this cup. I got to get me some more of these. It says my family is unconditionally diverse. My family is unconditionally diverse. And it's got human footprints, ducks, dogs, cats, and chickens' footprints. I love that one. I dropped mine, and I got to get another one. I had 2, and I dropped one. I have a sticker that says the same thing. I've got the unconditional on the tote bags and T-shirts. One of these shirts. Oh, this shirt here I don't like. I don't like the fabric on this one. The logo is like one gigantic vinyl sticker, and I just don't like it. Unapologetically pro-life. That's me, unapologetically pro-life. Right there. I'm not going to discuss it. It's just how I am. This is a tin cup. What I was going to do here, we're trying to get some camping spots set up over at Dad's, just a couple of them, because it's not enough property to have more than that. Pardon me. This is a tin cup like you would have at a campground. I've got that too. It's in the other room. I can't put it in a microwave, so it doesn't help me much. Backpack coffee cup. This is the coffee cup I have today. I've still got a couple that I drop these things all the time. And a sticker with Holstein House logo. And this is my book, ebook, Super Meal Ideas for Tight Budgets. This little recipe book has recipes for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Feed yourself and your family for less than $10 a day. This is by incorporating soup, just plain soup, into your meals. And my favorite one is to put Fiesta cheese soup in my scrambled eggs. Oh gosh, that's so good. But it's on this Etsy. Like I said, it's Etsy. The Etsy listing is Holstein House. But I'll have that in the description. But it's several, and some of them are kind of silly because, like this one, you can't really see that one, but it's hot dogs. It's hot dogs in sauce. This one's, I think, chicken soup. This one I can't remember, but that's the one with I call it soupier eggs. I forget. Anyway, but they're fun, great little ideas on how to incorporate soup. And the point of incorporating soup is to increase the nutritional value and extend the food. So if you put some cheese soup in your scrambled eggs, you can feed more people, and it tastes really good. So, but that's it. That's my little Etsy shop. I really should probably promote that some more. It's Robin Holstein House some more, because my upcycle. I used to do a lot of upcycling, and I haven't done that in a lot of years too. I have a book on upcycling. I have the link for my book in the description. I think it's supposed to be in there. But anyway, thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to cut. I'm going to stop now. We're at 57 minutes, and I just kind of didn't want to go more than an hour. I'll try to be back. I want to kind of get back to Tuesdays because it's like Mondays. It's Mondays end up being the day. Mondays and Fridays end up being the day when Mr. Holstein is off with doctor's appointments and things or whatever. And I don't mind, but I kind of don't like to have people in the house when I'm doing if you understand what I'm saying. So I'll try to do this again Tuesday. I'm going to try to get some videos done. I've got my tripod back. Love to know what kind of videos you'd like to see me do. I do, I do all the homesteading stuff except dispatching rabbits. I don't do that. I don't do that at all. But I love you, and I thank you for being with me, and I hope you will like, share, and subscribe, depending on what platform you're using to watch me here. Some of them are likes, some of them are shares, and some of them are subscribes. Some of them are all three. But we're on YouTube, we're on Rumble. Today I'm on Clapper. I do Noster sometimes. I'm not over there very much because I just don't. I do X, Facebook, obviously. We have Instagram. We have all that stuff. But here at Holstein House, one of the things that we do is we do have direct book and Airbnb links for our guest room. For those of you, if you're traveling to or through West Virginia, we'd love to have you stay. We are just a couple miles off of Interstate 64 and 77. That's the West Virginia Turnpike. Easy on, easy off. Really trying to reach out to the side-by-side four-wheeling community because we've got a new trail. It's the Appalachian Outlaw Trail that is just a mile from me, and you can ride your four-wheelers out from here to there. And I do understand they have their own campground and they have all this stuff. But if you just ride, you don't camp, you like to come to stay. Breakfast is provided. It's a traditional Airbnb experience. You're staying with us while we're here working the house, and we enjoy it. We've had people from all 7 continents. It's been great. But I'm going to stop. Just went over an hour. Didn't want to do that. But I appreciate you, and I thank you, and we'll see you again next time. Subscribe and stuff so you know when I do it the next time.
So there you have it. Post your comments, do all that boosting, liking, sharing, thumbs up, and stuff that helps spread the word and poke the algorithms. Follow me on most of the big social media platforms and look for my name, Robin Holstein, or Holstein House. Till next time, bye-bye.